for this meditation because I got so much to say about it. I just really want us to get centered in ourselves today. Today is just a day of so much. I don't know if you feel it, but I feel it. And there's just so much tension in the atmosphere, or there's so much. So right now I just want us to get focused on being submitting ourselves to the highest way. To just submit ourselves to the highest way. This is where I want us to be. In our prayer, in our asking of God, to just submit ourselves to the highest way. Submission, full submission to whatever is for our good. So we pray and we ask God to just help us to remove all stains that covers our heart, all animosity or anger that dwells and resides in our spirit, all unforgiveness and all non-self-loving energy that lives within us. We ask that it be removed so we can be submitted to our highest good, the highest way. And this is where we are asking God for you to expose to us our highest good, so that we may be submitted, or we may submit ourselves to the highest way. And let us submit ourselves, God, in asking to those who you call, those who've been called to the highest way. Let us submit ourselves to those in position to lead us out of the lower realms of our ego and to be in full submission to the eternal God. From ego to eternity, we're asking God that you remove any blockages, any barriers, anything that could be standing in our way, God. We're asking that you help us see, show us those who you placed in position for us, and we ask that we be in full submission to them. God, I know I am called to the highest way. And I know that there are many that are called to the highest way. The highest calls. The higher call on our lives. So we want to be in full submission to those who've been placed in this realm to take us to the highest ways, to the highways, to the high ways, the higher ways of life. And we know that on the highways of the highways, our good is there. We know on the highway to the highways, our good is there. So we are in full submission to our higher way right now. To those who've been called and deemed the Most High in this realm, to lead us, to lead others to highways, higher ways, the highest way. Let us submit ourselves. Let those submit themselves to those who've been called to the highest way. Right now, God, we are thankful, we are grateful that we can release the apprehension, the bandages that covers the wounds of our ego, because our ego hurts us. Our ego hurts us. Our ego keeps us in the lower realms where we are more attached and connected to the physical, and therefore in those realms we're able to feel the pain and feel the hurt that the ego calls upon us. And so we're asking right now, from the ego to the eternity, we're asking to be submitted to the highest way. And the highest way, God, that you have for us is to be eternal beings, to be eternal in our conscious and eternal in our knowing, to be eternal in our doing. Let us be submitted to this higher way, the highest ways of our good, of our life, because we know the highest way is for our good. And so we ask right now, God, in this meditation, to release and to show us. So with you right now, sitting still in your beingness with me, feel free to change lanes on the highway. Feel free to drive at your speed on the highway. Feel liberated to pull over onto the side of the shoulder and stop for a while on the highway, because we are in submission to the highways for our good. And on the highway to our highways, you are free to change lanes, free to pull over off onto the shoulder, free to drive at whatever speed, free to carpool and bring those along with you, and free to ride solo. Because you are on your highway to the highways. The highest way in life. The highest way for our good. The highest way with God. You are on the highway. And being still in your being, feeling complete in your soul. In this meditation portion, you just need to know that all you have to do is just get on the highway. And if you want to change routes, if you want to, there is no GPS, there is no wrong direction or right direction. As long as you are on the highway, you are on the highways of life. And so it's okay for you to change directions. It's okay for you to turn around and make a U-turn. It's okay for you to go the opposite way of others. It's okay for you to sit off on the shoulder for a moment and stare out over the bridge, or stare out at the water, or stare out at the scenery. It's okay for you to stop for a while and get on a rooftop and take a picture of the moment. It's okay for you to change lanes from right to left, from left to the middle, and from the middle to the far right. It's really okay for you to do that on the highways, because on the highway, all is good because you are on the highest way. All is good. So a U-turn to go the other direction is good. Pulling off to the shoulder on the highest way is good. Changing lanes on the highest way is good because you are on the highest ways. You've submitted yourself to the highest ways. On the highway, you are on the high ways of life, of your good. Fully in submission. Once you get on this highway, you've submitted to the high ways of life. You submitted to the highest ways of life. You submitted to the higher ways of life. You submitted to the higher call of life. You submitted to the higher cause of life. On the highway, you are on the high ways of life. Submitted to your good. And so it's okay to change lanes and make a left or a U-turn and go the other direction. Because all is good on the high ways of life. All is good. Just get on the highway and be fully submitted to the one driving. Be fully submitted to the one leading. Be fully submitted to the one who's been placed in your life to drive you in this direction, to drive you down this path, to drive you down this highway, to take you in this lane and make that turn. And as long as you are on the highway of the highest ways, you are protected, safe, and good. And you can ride solo, no passengers. And you can have a moment to yourself and be there and take in an experience, but be fully submitted to the experience. Knowing that every experience is for your good. It gets you to the end goal. The destination is eternity. Eternity with God. This is the destination. To be fully submitted to the eternal. Coming from out of the lower regions of the ego into the higher regions of eternity. To our highest good. Fully submitted to our higher ways. On the highway of the highways in our life, we're submitted to our good. Submitted to those who are brought into our lives, capable of showing us, leading us, helping us grow into the being that we are supposed to be. Eternal beings. So we are submitted to this and submitted to those, submitted to the one in the driver's seat, submitted to the one in the passenger seat, giving that advice, giving that encouragement, keeping you awake while you are driving. We are fully submitted to those who we are riding with, and we're fully submitted to the one called self. If we are riding solo on the highway of the highest ways, we're in submission. But on the highway, we release. We release. Let go any apprehension to feeling the presence, to feeling the present moment with the one you're with. Let us love. Let us love in this space, in this place. Let us love the one who leads us to that one. Not to the one, but that one which is eternal. Your true self, you, your eternal. So that we may begin to hear from the highest ways of God, of our good. We're submitted to the eternal, not to the ego. Knowing the ego keeps us attached to the physical, where pain resides, where pain could be felt, where unforgiveness lives, where judgmental lives. But we remove and we release and we ascend higher to the highest ways from the ego. So there no longer is pain. There no longer, or pain doesn't affect us. There no longer can judgment reside in us, and no longer can unforgiveness live in us. But when we're submitted to the highest ways, we are submitted to our good. We are submitted to eternal. We are submitted to only that which is everlasting. And we're thankful right now. So let us breathe that in. Let us own that by breathing that in. Let's inhale that, Let that breath escalate. Let it rise. Yes. And let it sit there. And as it sits, before we release into the biosphere, we own that we are on the highway of the highest ways right now in that breath. Own it. Say it to yourself. I am on the highway of the highest ways for my good. Release that breath into the atmosphere. Let's release it into the atmosphere this time. When we breathe in, we breathe into the biosphere. We breathe in that intention. So let us do that one more time. Let us breathe in to the biosphere and say to ourselves, as that breath escalates, let it rise. Now let it sit. Hold it for a moment. And say to yourself, I am on the highway of the highways to my good. Let's say it again before we release it. I am on the highway of the higher ways for my good. Now release it into the atmosphere with intention. Feel good, don't it? Feel good. I'm thankful. Be thankful right now. Say, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for those who teach. Thankful for those who lead. Thankful for those who guide. Thankful for those who transcend us from this realm to the highest ways of our good. We are submitted, fully submitted into submission to those who lead, those who guide, and to ourselves who trust those who lead and those who guide. I'm going to say that again. We are in full submission to ourselves and to that trust in ourselves that we give to those who lead and those who guide. Trust that right now. Let us close out with a good inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Believing in that. I trust that you have bought into the way. I trust that you bought into that way. I'm so thankful to you. I ask that you use this video to share, to let others know about this daily prayer and meditation that I call depths into God. I'm thankful. I'm grateful. I love you. I love me. I love us. Always. Ashe, Aton, and Amen. Be well and be light.